All right, here we are, just in time. Saturday night special. A couple minutes late, just as I was about to set up everything, get everything ready to roll. My computer decided, my laptop decided that it had to reboot or something like this, and it said like 20 minutes, and it was at 7:40, and it kept getting longer and longer and longer. So I actually even had it set up on my phone to do an emergency Saturday night special on my phone. But we got in just in time, so I'm sorry that I'm a little bit tardy. I don't feel tardy. We're doing this a different locality. I'm in the back of the Fozzy tour bus in Minot, North Dakota. And you might be saying, why are you in the back of the tour bus? Well, that's because we actually did 4 shows this week. And the reason for that is we had our tour, the Save the World tour, which was originally booked for April and May. It got postponed to July and August, and then got postponed to October and November. But 4 shows remained in August. And I was like, how? Well, the shows are in South Dakota and North Dakota, and we had one in Fort Madison, Iowa, which is right near the border of South Dakota. And the reasons why the shows have happened, we did 2 already, we got our 3rd one tonight, is because these states of North Dakota and South Dakota have very low COVID cases, less than 1,000 in both states. I think Florida had like 9,000 today alone. So, so the venues are kind of either outside or they're half capacity. We're sold out tonight in Minot with, I think, 50% capacity. Last night we were sold out in Sioux Falls, South Dakota with, I think it was 35% capacity. So we hand out masks at the door, temperature checks, all that sort of stuff. Basically just stay on the bus all day. Everyone in the Fozzy camp, crew and band has been tested. And so that's kind of how we're doing it. Everything's been going good. It's been so great to be back on stage again. After 7 months, the last gig we played was on the Jericho cruise, which is so hard to believe. It was like in a different planet. And now, before back in the days before the Rona changed everything. So, anyways, we were here for the Saturday night special in the back of the tour bus. And the thing is, we're on tonight. We have a show tonight at 9:30. It's 8:10 here. So I'm not going to be going as long as I usually do. And there's not going to be a sing along tonight because I got to sing, and I got to sing later tonight. I did 2 shows in a row, 2 hour-and-a-half sets, so I don't want to be singing a song before the show. And also other difference is no vodka this week. I'm switching over to the White Claw, so I can have a drink with you guys, but not get supremely buzzky like I sometimes do, because I got to be a professional. So we had a great week this week. Really enjoyed the debate between myself and Orange Cassidy. I love how people were surprised. It's like, wow, that was actually really good. Of course it was good. It was my idea. We did it perfectly. And Orange was great. And I think it was just one of those segments. Obviously having Eric Bischoff involved was really cool. And the original idea that I had was maybe having Mike Tenay do it. I think that was Cody's idea. And then I thought, what about Eric? Because he had just done my cruise. And we're on very good terms, so I thought he'd be perfect. And the one thing I didn't realize is that it was his return to TNT for the first time in 20 years. Same way that I didn't realize it was my return to TNT when I came back when we started AEW and TNT. So it was great having Eric, and I sent him. I watched the Clinton-Trump debate from 2016. And I sent that to him. I said, I want you to be Lester. I think Lester, I can't remember what Lester's name is. He was the moderator. Just play it straight. You're the moderator. And then I sent Kevin Sullivan, not that Kevin Sullivan, our Kevin Sullivan, who does all kind of our production and graphics and stuff, the idea for the beginning. And he came up with a great graphic, which was really cool. And it was so funny, too, because we thought Eric was on the stage, so we didn't want to have pyro where he's sitting at a desk on the stage and can't go anywhere. And I said, well, why don't we just use the pyro for the actual debate itself? So that was really cool, kind of having this ridiculous amount of pyro. It's so obnoxious, like for a debate. It's like, WrestleMania level opening pyro. But it worked out really good, and a lot of people said that the Orange answering the ocean question, which was kind of the germ of that idea. Tony Khan came up with the questions, and then Cody came up with the germ of the idea of the ocean question, and then I had the idea for Orange to answer it like in a really crazy cool way. which everyone thinks was from Old School. I didn't get it from Old School. I got it from Wayne's World. If you guys remember when they go to Milwaukee and Alice Cooper is talking about how, talking about the treaties of the land and the plight of the Native Americans and all that sort of stuff. So that's where most of my stuff comes from, movies, and this one came from a movie as well, not the one that people thought. So I think it worked out really well. It was a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to Cassidy Jericho 2, which is going to be this Wednesday. When I win, Orange is going to have to pay me $7,000 cash for ruining my designer jacket with his demonic orange juice. And the Best Friends, the Inner Circle, are banned from ringside, which I'm not completely happy about, but I got my stipulation and he got his. So like I said, we're going to do a quicker version of the special tonight. I didn't want to leave you guys hanging, but we'll probably only go about 45 minutes or so. So hopefully that's okay with you guys. At least we get a little bit of time together to hang out, and let's rock it. So someone asked me to wish Marjorie happy birthday, and that, of course, there it is. Once again, this question goes fast. Can you wish Marjorie Ambrose a happy birthday? Happy birthday, Marjorie. We'll do a sing along for Marjorie. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Marjorie. Happy birthday to you. All right, that's for Marjorie. Sorry, I'm getting messages from some of our texts because we're setting up the show tonight here in Minot, which we're very excited about. I used to come to Minot when I was a kid for vacation with my cousins Chad and Todd. And the reason why would you come to Minot for vacation? Because it's a really kind of a small, kind of a rural town. But the reason why we used to come here was because in Canada back in those days, and if you've seen the Winnipeggers discuss it, we discussed it. In Winnipeg, like in the early 80s, you couldn't get Hostess cakes like Twinkies and cupcakes, and you couldn't get Dr. Pepper. And there were certain like Star Wars dolls that you could only get in the States, and certain G.I. Joe dolls you could only get in the States. So we would say, we're going to go to the States for a weekend. And, when you're 14, 15, 12, whatever, to go to the States for the weekend, meet up with your cousins, stay in a hotel with like a swimming pool and an arcade. It had to be an arcade. You were just living the life of Riley and having the best time ever. So that's kind of why we used to come here. So thank you to Minot. It's great to be back. That white jacket was so beautiful. You're damn right it was. And now he's going to have to pay me $7,000. Geez, let me just see what I can find here. Once again, these things go by so fast. How is Bruce Kulick doing? Heard from him lately. Well, he's doing great. He played with us on the quarantine track Heart of Chrome. He's in the video, and the video I think is almost at 70,000 views. So Bruce is very proud of his era of Kiss, and it was great to have him involved. And we were just talking last night here on the bus. One of the reasons why it's great to be back on the bus, back on tours, obviously doing shows, but the camaraderie and the useless, chatting, music chat. And we've got PJ Farley from Trickster with us on this run because Randy Drake couldn't make it. And we were just talking about Kiss and about how Bruce Kulick should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And it's ridiculous that Bruce Kulick and Eric Carr are not in the Hall of Fame with Kiss when the entire E Street Band, including like the first drummer from the first album, is in. It's like nobody cares about the fifth oboe player in the E Street Band, where you got Bruce Kulick, who sold 10 million records legit with Kiss, is not in there. So Bruce should be in the Hall of Fame, and I believe that. So is Matt Hardy okay after the chair shot? I think so. He got some pretty crazy stitches from the chair shot from Sammy. So thankfully Matt's okay, but we call that a happy accident in the business. It's like the time when I punched Shawn Michaels' wife, Rebecca, in the face, and I really connected with her, and it was a terrible feeling when you hurt somebody by a mistake. But when we found out that she was okay and that she wasn't going to have any issues, it became, like I said, a happy accident to where now suddenly you have this feud that's taken to a completely different level. And that's what it was like with Sammy and Matt. Thankfully, Matt's okay, but now the blood has been shed, and I'm sure Matt is going to more than want to get his revenge. So I think it's going to add a lot of different layers to that angle. Tomorrow is your 21-year debut for the WWE. What was your thoughts about your debut, Interrupting the Rock? Thank you, Michael. It's really funny because I don't really remember these things sometimes until you see them online. And somebody posted earlier today, and I was like, "Well, you're off a day," and he's like, "I'm in a different country. I'm around the other side of the world." I'm like, "Oh, I guess you're right. It is actually August 9th." So, August 9th, 1999, 21 years ago. So crazy. I've told the story before, but I'll tell it again since Michael asked. And basically, what happened was I had signed to go to WWE, WWF at the time, and I was at the post office because I used to uh, had a PO box where if you sent me a self addressed stamped envelope, I would send you a signed 8x10. It's something I started doing in WCW before I was getting a push, just to try and get some some fan base, a fan swell, a foundation of Jerichoholics, I guess. And I was in the post office getting ready to send another batch out, and I saw a big countdown clock on the wall that said the countdown to the new millennium. And it was like, I don't know what it was at the time, 5 months, 4 days, 12 hours and 13 seconds, 12 seconds, 11 seconds. And I thought that'd be a great way for someone to come into the WWE. It'd be a great way for me to come into the WWE. So I called Vince Russo and just said, what if we do the countdown clock? And I call myself the Millennium Man, and, the whole Y2J thing. Obviously, people ask me what Y2J came from. It was supposed to be Y2K. J rhymes with K. There you go. Not rocket science, guys. So I called Vince Russo with this idea. He called Vince McMahon, and Vince loved it and came up with one extra little twist. Was the countdown was going to run out in the middle of The Rock's promo, which was huge for me. I never would have guessed that. And you're getting thrown right into it because The Rock was the most popular name in the world right then, and for the clock to expire cutting a promo, it couldn't position me any higher for my first night. So I remember I wrote that promo on the floor of my apartment, and when I got there to Raw, my first night was in Detroit the night before, and I was just watching. So it was Chicago. Went to the catering area, and I had not even a rehearsal. I just went over it with Vince Russo and The Rock, and he came up with a couple of his insult ideas, KY jelly and Juventud joke, whatever. I can't remember exactly what he said. And there was no rehearsal. There was no getting the promo approved by Vince. It was just all me with a little bit of Rock and Russo put in there. And that was basically it. And the other thing was too, is like, you didn't have to hide me during the day, like in a bus, which is what we do sometimes when you get, when you're supposed to be the surprise, because there was no phones in those days. You know what I mean? There was no, as you would say, like spoilers. Only the people in the arena, and if you didn't, there was nowhere to post that Jericho's backstage at Raw, so it really was a surprise. But the thing is, so many people had the intuition that I was going to be there, and I felt that almost like half the crowd was expecting me to be there, and were super excited to see me. And I knew that as much as I'd done in the business, and as long as I had been around in the business, if I didn't hit a home run that night, that it could be the end for me. And everything that I'd done up to that moment meant nothing when it came up to this promo. And it's legendary to a lot of people. One of the best debuts ever. I agree with that. I think the promo could have been better. I think my facial expressions were really bad. And I know that I got some heat right off the bat because there was a target on my back for sure when I first got to WWE from WCW, because the wrestling war back then was real. And it's real again now. I had a dream the other night that I was backstage at a WWE show, and Triple H came in. He was kind of staring like, "What are you doing here?" And I was like, "I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm not sure why I'm here." It was really awkward. I felt really strange. But yeah, so I went out and did the promo, and it went really good, but it could have been better. But for my first time in, getting thrown right into it with The Rock, and like, okay, man, what do you got? And that's one of the reasons why I think I always had great chemistry with The Rock, because it was hard to go toe-to-toe with him on the mic, but I could do that, and I showed it right off the bat. So 21 years ago tomorrow, unless you're on the other side of the world, in which it was today. So thoughts on Darby Allin? I love Darby. I'm a big fan of his. And right off the bat, I knew he had something special. I worked with him in week 3 of AEW, and Tony wanted me to have a title match. And my initial idea was to work with Sonny Kiss, because we needed me to get a win over somebody. And there's something to Sonny that I really like, and I think he could be a pretty big star. And then Tony wanted to do Darby Allin, and that was cool too. And then Darby wanted to. He did this thing where he had his hands tied, and then he would work spots with his hands tied. And so I said, well, that's at first I was like, nah, we're not going to do that. Then I was like, get your head out of your ass. It's really cool, and it'll get him over to a real degree if he's going to do that. You know what I mean? Like, I've never seen anybody wrestle with their hands tied behind their back and doing topes and climbing up the top rope and all that stuff. So that's why I came up with the idea of having the Philadelphia street fight. And I think it was Philadelphia. Was it Philadelphia? Or was it Boston? Boston street fight? You guys probably remember more than I did, but it was week 3. And he's great. He reminds me a lot of Jeff Hardy. He's definitely his own guy. He's got his own whole unique persona. He's very creative. And he's definitely one of our top guys already, and will be even more so in the future. And that's one thing I love about AEW. We are really building Darby, MJF, Sammy Guevara, Jungle Boy, really putting some of these guys, Orange Cassidy, making them into stars, because they're going to have to be main eventers for us in the near future. I mean, I can't be on top forever, nor do I want to be, but I sure do love working with these guys now. And I love working with Orange Cassidy. I've had a great time working with him. And he's another guy. When I first saw him, I was like, look at this guy. This guy, what the hell is he doing? I don't like him. He's disrespecting the business. And then I realized it's the exact opposite. He's completely respecting the business by doing something that's never been done before. And that's why he's popular and exciting and over. So when fans start coming back into the venues, I think Orange will be one of the guys that continues to get those great pops for being such an original. Do you still like Winnipeg? I love Winnipeg. We got a show called The Winnipeggers with my friends from Winnipeg. And you can watch that on YouTube, on this channel, or on Facebook with Rybo and Spewy. And this week we're talking about near-death experiences that were caused by trying to pick up a chick. Mine was when I was in Mexico. It was Corazon de Leon. And I basically tried to pick up a girl who took me to the outskirts of town. And her brother robbed me at gunpoint. So go check out The Winnipeggers, episode 3, to hear that whole story. Stan Morrow on Facebook says, my girlfriend usually doesn't like watching wrestling with me until she watched AEW this week. She likes AEW. She laughed at best friend's mom's car getting busted up. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And that's one thing I really like about what we have going with AEW, is that it isn't typical wrestling. It's not like WWE wrestling, and nor are we trying to be. I mean, they do their thing and they do it well, and we do our thing and we do it better. So I think we tell better stories. We have more defined characters, and we have a lot more fun on Dynamite and in AEW. And I think people can tell that. So Ross Howard says, when the pandemic is over, you need to bring an AEW pay-per-view to the UK. We'd tear the roof off the building. Yes, I agree with that. Obviously, Tony and the Khan family have a great affiliation with the UK, considering that they own the Fulham Football Club, who just won a huge game to get them back in the Premier League. And I was reading that by winning that game, they stand to make about $300 million in revenue. And if they would have lost the game, they would have got nothing. So that's high-class sports, guys, because it's really cool. If you live in England, they should try that in our sports here. If you finish in the bottom 3, you drop down to the minor league, like the league underneath you. So all of the top players, like if they're making big salaries, they have to win, because if you get dropped down to that minor league, you make a lot less money. So it gives guys incentive to work hard and try hard and play the best you possibly can, and not just get a fat cat deal and then, be done with it. So let's see. Do you think they were right to not give the title after their angle with Triple H and the Acolytes? I don't know. I mean, I think that was kind of a chance to see what kind of a reaction I would get. And this is the night I beat Triple H for the world title, and then had to give it back like after the commercial break 15 minutes later. But I do remember Vince said to me, I said I felt weird about just giving it back. He said, don't worry about it. You're going to have it anyways at some point. So let's just tell the story for the night and see where it goes. And of course, I don't think Vince doesn't say a lot of stuff like that unless he means it. So maybe he thought at some point I'd be a world champion, but maybe it was a little bit too early. But I think they wanted to see what kind of reaction I would get. So I do think it was wrong for me to lose the last man standing match, which I think stemmed from that. I don't think it would have hurt Triple H at all to lose that match, and it definitely would have helped me. But that's how things were back then, and it was a great night. The first night ever with Triple H, and he put me over huge, and it was awesome. So I always loved working with Triple H. We always had great matches, good to great matches, and had great chemistry as well. Even though we didn't always like each other all the time in the ring, we always had great times. Larzy from YouTube, what was the biggest crowd pop you've ever gotten? Some people might say the original 21 years ago debut. I think the bigger one, though, was the Royal Rumble 2013 when I came back as a total surprise. It was in Phoenix, and Dolph Ziggler was out in the ring. He was the first in the ring for the Royal Rumble, and I had been gone for a while. And I was the second called out there, and people went fucking nuts. Like, you could see them just going crazy, maybe far more than when I got there in 1999. So that might be the best one that I ever received. Let's see what we got. Pumpkins United. There you go. I love Pumpkins United. I love Halloween, obviously. And you should check them out. Michael Kiske and Andy Darris together are great. Okay, do you have an update? Said Daniel Tilly. Do you have an update on Pac with the travel restrictions? Any chance of return on All Out? I don't think he can make it back for All Out. I would love to have him. I mean, Pac is awesome. And it's a drag because I did have a conversation with him right before. It was actually our last show in front of people. March 11th in Salt Lake City was the last show that AEW had in front of a crowd. And Pac, he's not Pac, he's Pac. Sorry, Pac. And I remember them hearing rumors that they were going to close down the borders for a lot of countries. And I said to him, like, maybe you should ask Tony if you can, move to Orlando for a couple months, until this is done. Remember, think about that. In March, we thought, this will be done by, May at the latest, maybe June. And here we are, freaking forever, still going. But, and I remember I heard him talking to Tony, and he I guess went back to England, and then the next week everything was shut down. So, I mean, it's great to have Pentagon back. I guess Mexico's different, but Europe, there's a lot of people kind of stuck over there. Sadie Gibbs and, a couple of our other girls are over there. But, yeah. So anyways, we hope to have him back very soon because he's awesome. Thomas Sladke, do you plan to continue to do Fozzy meet and greets on this tour for October, November? Yes, we're going to do meet and greets. We did one today. We didn't do the step and repeat like we did before, but we did do our 5-song mini set, and then we stood on the stage, and we had the people kind of walk and stand in front of the stage, and we took a picture that way. So a little bit different from what we usually do, but you got to be careful, and we got to respect all the social distancing rules and all that sort of stuff. What's your favorite match with Shawn Michael? Michelle, where else? She asks questions every week. Hi, Michelle. Hard to say, but I'd probably go with the ladder match that we had in Portland for the world title. And the reason for that it is because it was for the world title. It was one of those things that that feud was just supposed to be a one-night, one-and-done thing. Shawn and I basically had nothing else going on, and we wanted to extend it a bit. And little did we know that when we extended it a bit, that people would want to see it. And then we created one of the greatest stories that I've ever been involved with. I still say they should do a documentary about it and put it on the network, which of course they won't because now I'm in AEW. But it was a textbook, perfect feud in my opinion. And the fact that it culminated in a world title match when it was only supposed to be just a one night, one and done, shows you how good things could go. So loved working with Shawn, one of my favorites. Taught me a lot too. Stephen May, you're gonna get that stupid idiot Tyson. That's the idea. We're not done yet. he had this fight with Roy Jones Jr. September 12th, which kind of cut down any chance of him doing the match with me on the 5th. But like I said, I get it. It's a lot of money at stake, and that's fine. I'm not going anywhere, and we have another pay-per-view in November, and we'll see what happens. I'm ready to kick his ass at any point in time. I'm not scared of him. I'll tell you that right now. People think I'm crazy. It's because I am. What's your alcohol of choice? Mine is shooting tequila, Shannon says. I am a Grey Goose guy, although I really like White Claws if I don't want to get super buzzky. So there you go. So I'm drinking White Claws tonight because I got to work. I got to sing a concert for a sold-out crowd here in Minot, baby. This is live, it says, Michael. Yes, you're right. It is definitely live. Congratulations on figuring that out. Let's see. What were your thoughts? Ryan says, what were your thoughts when you were told at Vengeance you were going to be the undisputed champ, and what were Austin Rock like tonight? Were they like it's your time? Yeah, Austin Rock were fine. They were great. I mean, they put me over huge, and there was no snaky politics. I think they both thought that, I'd earned my stripes sort of thing. And basically, I've told the story before, but how I was found out is I heard some rumors about it the week before, but not any earlier than that. And no one told me for sure. And you usually see, like, sometimes when people have their, first title when they have their family in the crowd, like their dad or their wife or their, whatever, cousins or whatever the hell it was. And I didn't have that because I didn't know I was going to be winning until the day of the show for sure. I was sitting in catering. And while I was sitting in catering, back then Vince used to come into catering and get his food from there. And he was talking to Undertaker, and I was within earshot, and you knew that they knew I could hear him because they were like standing basically right behind me. And Vince goes, "Taker, you know how you know the business is going down the toilet? How? When we're putting the title on Jericho." And that was it. He walked away, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I guess I'm gonna be the champion." And I was. So there you go. That's great. Who's doing Shark Week? I'm not doing Shark Week. I hope I don't get. Oh, Rockies maybe. I think he's fine. Captain Morgan. Are you any left? I was never. Is that rum? I was never a rum guy. When we were kids, we used to make this stuff called shit mix. And this is when your parents would go out for the night, and you would, want to get some alcohol from your parents' liquor cabinet, but you didn't want to take too much from just one bottle because they could tell. My parents used to mark the lines of liquor. So you would get a bottle and you would pour in, God, I can remember, a little bit of vodka, a little bit of rum, a little bit of Southern Comfort, a little bit of gin, a little bit like Jack Daniels, like fucking Zambuca. Like, it's so gross, right? Can you imagine? No wonder we had horrible hangovers when we were a kid. It's like, who could drink that? When you were a kid, you drank whatever you could get, and it always slightly tasted of gin, no matter what you put in it, or Southern Comfort. And that was brutal too. So Captain Morgan, I can always remember that rum, and it'd always go into the shit mix with the Southern Comfort and the gin. And then, of course, you just pour water back into the bottles. But then when it settled, you could see like a line, like here's the water and here's the alcohol. Shake it up every once in a while. So back in the good old days. Dan McIntosh on YouTube. I've watched you since you were in WCW. Remember when you were there? I think of a German wrestler, Alex Wright. Thinking of him and watching Sammy Guevara, they remind me a lot of each other. They do. There's a lot of similarities between Sammy and Alex. Sammy's just the 2020, much more advanced version of Alex Wright. Alex Wright was really good, but he was kind of sloppy too. He was a little bit green. So he kind of always thought he was better than he was, but I'm not bearing him. I'm saying some guys were like that. I'm sure Alex would tell you that. I had some really good matches with him, but he was always better as a heel than as a babyface. My very first match in WCW on Nitro was against Alex Wright. And the finish was he went for a crossbody off the top post of the floor. I moved. He hit the guardrail. He was knocked out. And, to show that I was a valiant, hot, young, upstart babyface, they wanted me to refuse the win because that's not how you win. The fact that he hurt himself on this on this fly across the outside. I should never accept a victory like that. I remember Bobby Heenan was like, "Take the victory, you idiot! You don't get too many victories around here. Take them when you can get them." And then we had a promo after. I was with Mean Gene Okerlund, and we were supposed to talk about the NWO. Never mind my debut. Everything was about the NWO back then. No matter who you were, what you had going on, you had to talk about the NWO. So I was talking about the NWO, and I think we had, I don't know, a minute for the promo, and I talked 55 seconds. I was only supposed to talk 30, and Alex was supposed to talk 30, but by the time he got his turn, they had already cut it off. So I guess I kind of railroaded him out of the promo. But I didn't mean it. It wasn't on purpose. So cheers to Alex if he's watching. Oh, that's the one we just did. Let's see what we got here. Favorite color? Purple. I love the color purple. Oh, I saw you in Champaign when you were all in October. Was hoping to see you wrestle. You're one of the favorites. I haven't had the pleasure to witness greatness. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Here we go. This is a good one. Paula Garcia. I know Paula from Spain. How did you start the projects of Quarantine, the Wheel Blocks? I'm really loving all the covers. But we talked about the Quarantine project a few weeks ago. And so the Wheel Blocks, if you haven't heard that, that's my new well, first of all, No 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 by Quarantine is now number 36 on the mainstream rock radio charts, which is great because the Crazy Nights record had 2 songs that charted in 1987. One of them was Crazy Nights, which got to number 37. The other one was Reason to Live, which got to number 34. So No 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 is at number 36. My goal is to take it to number 33 and have it the highest charting song from the Crazy Nights record. That's my goal. So we'll see. In the meantime, though, we've done the Wheel Blocks, which is Phil Demmel, ex-Machine Head. He's now in Violence. He always was in Violence. He called me and said, we're going to do a cover of Aces High. He's been doing a lot of kind of the All-Star Supergroup Instagram posts. And he had Nita Strauss from Alice Cooper and Josh V, who's in Nita's band. They were looking for a bass player. I suggested Johnny Christ from Avenged Sevenfold, and we did Aces High. And the original idea, they said, let's tune it down a bit because it's super high sing. I'm like, no, absolutely not. I'm not going to do a Maiden cover and down tune it in any way, shape, or form. As a card-carrying Maiden fan, that's a cop-out. And the final note on that song is what's called a G4. It's super high. The fact that Bruce could do that effortlessly. Happy birthday to Bruce. He was 62 this week. And happy birthday to James Hetfield. He was 57 this week. So, but the point that Maiden, his voice was so high, and it's like so all week long. I got a high range, but that note, I've never sung it before. And I really worked hard on it. My wife actually said, you sound like you're killing a cat. But finally, though, when I got in the studio, man, I sang the tune, and that was the last thing to do, and I just went for it. And first 2 tries, I got it. I did it once, I did it again, and that's all you need. Once you get it, man, that's all you need. You know, so it was great. So once again, not doing anything small, we put it up through Loudwire, and I think the video now is 35,000 views. You guys got to watch it. Watch Johnny Christ. He's so funny in this. He's great. So I think we're going to take it to radio like we did with Quarantine and see what we can do with it. Definitely some huge star power there, you know, in that band. So, and it's a great song, one of my favorite songs. So it was fun to sing. It kind of kept my chops sharpened up, shall we say. Favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger movie? Well, I mean, gosh, how could you not say Terminator? I love Terminator, but a Schwarzenegger movie that's not Terminator, I think Total Recall is pretty cool because I love the fact that we never know for sure, did Douglas Quaid get what he paid for, or did he really get set off into this journey, this adventure? Because remember, he paid for an adventure. So it's always kind of like, did he get what he wanted, or did he not get what he wanted? So it was going. I love Twins too, featuring the amazing Kelly Preston, who passed away just a few weeks ago. And I met her when I did Dancing with the Stars. Kirstie Alley was on the show when I went to Kirstie's house. She's great. She had all these lemurs. They're kind of like monkeys with wide eyes, and they're white. And she had all these lemurs in a cage. And my kids were really small at the time, so we brought her to Kirstie's house to look at the lemurs. And Kelly Preston was there, and she had a little newborn baby with her. I think it's I can't remember what Benjamin, maybe I think the kid's name was. And she was kind of like nursing him and stuff. And I was just like, I had the biggest crush on you when I was a kid. And she's like, oh, cool. Like, who's this idiot? Who is this guy? But yeah, she was Monty in Twins. So God bless her. What'd you think of Top and Shove Mania? Amazing. Loved it. Love those guys. And just so cool that they created this, did it in Gallows' backyard. Great house that Gallows has too, by the way. I mean, was it the shits? Absolutely. But it's like when we used to do Talk and Shop, Talk is Jericho presents Talk and Shop on my podcast. It was always terrible, but it was hilarious and it was a lot of fun. So love those guys and appreciate their ingenuity and the fact that they were able to put that together. And I'm sure they'll do another one very soon. And I really enjoyed that one. So congratulations to them. Vader stories. Here's something. Vader is one of the few guys that I never met. I never met Vader ever, which is so crazy when you think about it. Never worked in a company that he was in. Never ran into him anywhere. So I have no Vader stories because I never met him. Matthew Simmons on YouTube. Enjoyed watching The Price is Right. Be a good boy, Jericho. Bob Barker is one of those guys that when he showed up in Chicago, because we were doing the guest host thing at the time, I thought he was going to get eaten alive by the Chicago crowd. I thought they were going to bury him. I thought they were going to just tear him apart. And then he got out there and instantly had the crowd in the palm of his hand. He was like just the best. And obviously he's been doing it for 50 years. He knows what to do. So at the time I was the very angry, slow talking, quiet Jericho. And Bob and I had to do a thing, and they wanted me to play Price is Right. And I was like, Brian Gewirtz was the head writer at the time. I'm like, why? I don't want to do this. Like, I'm not comedy Jericho. This is like serious Jericho. He's like, that's why it'll work. Just do comedy this 1 week, a couple things, and just to remind people that you have that side to you, and then you can go switch right back into asshole Jericho. And so that's what we did. And I'll tell you what, when I went out there and like you be a good boy, Jericho, like however it ended up, you guys can go watch on YouTube. It's hilarious. When I went toe to toe with him, I said something to like, Barker, I'll take you on anytime, any place, anywhere. And he's like, don't make me put you over my knee, Chris, with that big, long, thin microphone that he used to talk into. And dude, I was like this, like, and I'm thinking, don't laugh, don't laugh, don't laugh. You're on live TV, don't laugh. And I was just like, I didn't laugh, but it was the closest I've ever come to completely breaking character with Bob Barker. And if I was a more experienced performer like I am now, I probably would have started laughing because it was so great. He was awesome. And I had him on Talk as Jericho a few years ago. I had a contact for him, and we did it over the phone. It took him about 20 minutes to realize that I was that same Chris Jericho that he did The Price is Raw with. And the best three hosts ever on Raw when we were having the guest host was Bob Barker, Mike Tyson, and Ozzy. I had great times with all of them. Favorite horror movie of all time? The original Halloween. I love the Dawn of the Dead remake. I love Sleepaway Camp 2. All of them are great, very cool, scary horror movies. I really like House of the Devil, too. It's not one of my favorites, but if you guys haven't seen that, you should check it out. It's really, really cool. It's very much a 80s level horror movie done like in the 2000s. So it was very, very cool. I was looking through the questions. I had a good one that was good, but I'll try and get back to it. The trailer for Kilroy was crazy. Did you like filming that? I love filming that. And it's coming out very soon. And that's the cool thing where it's like in this day and age with a Kevin Smith movie that's all done and ready to go. There's nobody filming anything right now. So the fact that there's an actual, like I said, an actual freaking Kevin Smith movie that's done and raring to go, I think it's a no-brainer that he should be able to sell it to anywhere that he wants. So we did that 2 years ago, and it's a horror anthology, and I play the Gator Chaser, which is more than what it seems. He's a real psycho. So I think you guys might like it. So any plans? Any place to buy autographs, legit, not fake. I don't. The best place to get my autograph is to see me somewhere, and I can sign it for you face to face. Anyone you want from New Japan to come to AEW? Shit, we only got another 13 minutes left. I got to start getting ready for the show. Like I said last week, I'd love to have Ibushi come in. Ospreay is amazing. Um, I would like to work with Suzuki at some point, maybe. Um, there's a lot of great guys there, though, like I said. But those are the ones that stand out for me the most. Who's more technically opinion, Benoit or Angle? Also, my mama keeps shouting every time I play Judas, which is basically every day. Benoit was very technical. He trained in Calgary, but also had so much of an influence of the Mexican style and the English style and Japanese, and he grew up kind of in the dojo there in Japan. So, but Kurt was an amateur. He was a gold medal Olympian. So I say Kurt was more technical when you're talking about that. But they had such great chemistry all across the board. Love watching those guys work. I mean, they were built for each other, man. So very, very cool stuff. Let's see. What your favorite Star Wars movie? That's a no-brainer. That is definitely Empire Strikes Back. I love that movie because you could tell it was a trilogy that they had written as a trilogy, and it had a beginning and a middle and an end. And the fact that the middle was kind of everybody, all the good guys get screwed, and it was such a bad guy wins movie that I just love that because you needed to have that. And I remember Plus Two back then. There was no binge watching. There was no, social media spoilers, and you had to literally wait 3 years. So think about this, kids, when Han goes into the carbonite and I'm 9 years old, I had to wait 3 whole years to find out what was going to happen to him. Just imagine that, 3 whole years. And this is back when all that stuff was life, like Star Wars was life. So to not know what happened to Han Solo for that long was crazy. And you better believe I was the first in line when Empire Strikes or when Jedi came out. I remember standing in line for tickets and then standing in line to go to the movie. And it was, I think, on the Friday. I think I came home from school. My mom let me go straight to the movie theater, and I caught the 7:00 showing or whatever it was. So I loved it. Charles Kirkove, thank you, Fozzie, for making my son's first concert experience awesome last night in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I loved it too. Thank you so much. And I also got a chance to see Eugene last night. I haven't seen him in a while. He's coming up on a future episode of Talk is Jericho. I forgot just how popular he was. He had a lot of great stories. So we had a great show there. Thanks, everybody, for coming out to that. Alice and Trails, what's your wrestling Mount Rushmore? Well, that's hard to say. As a fan or as a professional? Because as a fan, Hogan, Steamboat, Owen Hart, Macho Man Savage. As a professional, who I love wrestling against, Shawn Michaels, Rey Mysterio, John Moxley, and The Rock, maybe? It's so hard to say. Not sure exactly. There's so many more. Kenny Omega. It's hard to kind of think of those. We are moving on down the line here. Oh my gosh, top 5 matches you wrestled all of NJPW. I'll do the New Japan ones. Tanahashi, Omega, Naito at the Tokyo Dome. All 3 of my Tokyo Dome matches, I loved all 3 of those. And then I'll go back a little bit further. New Japan matches. I didn't really have any that stuck out for me as great matches when I was there just as a random guy. Probably the first one that I had after Super Liger, which was me and Scotty Riggs versus Liger and Samurai, I think, which is where I got my stripes back, where they started trusting me. So that one was good. Would you perform a Canadian Destroyer? The first Canadian Destroyer I ever took was Code Red from Dustin Rhodes. The 2 50-year-old guys did that one. So I wouldn't really do one because everyone does one. But I would take one. Darby kind of does one too. Jamal Gary says that is true. He wanted NXT to do the first cruise. I said, no, I did want NXT to do the first cruise. And I had to wait. They kept me on the line for 3 months about it. And they finally they had this 45-minute call just to say no, and I was like, you guys could have said that in 30 seconds. And the reason why they said Vince didn't want to do it because he'd seen somewhere that whole cruise ship had food poisoning, and he didn't want anything like that. And I was like, geez, like, you scared that you're going to hit an iceberg too when you're traveling to Mexico? But yeah, he said no. I called Ring of Honor, and they said yes in 5 minutes. So, Demo God, can you say El Dandy like you say Clifford? Clifford! I love Clifford! A few more questions, and then I got to go, guys. I got to tell you what, I'm glad I got to see some of you guys here today. Thoughts on Bruce Dickinson's voice after his return? Amazing. I love the fact that he started. They started that entire tour with "If Eternity Must Fail," or "If Eternity Does Fail." What's the name of the song? If eternity does fail, if eternity must fail. And he starts the set just by standing up on the riser and just a cappella singing. You know, Bruce is great. He still sounds great now, even at 62 years old. If eternity should fail. Let's see what we got going on here. Cats or dogs, man? I gotta go with dogs. I love dogs. My mom likes dogs. You like dogs? You like dogs? My mom likes dogs. Let's see what Rob has to say. From Russia with love. Shower! You guys like Shower and Clifford? Thoughts on Brian Pillman Jr.? He's a great talent. He's still got a lot to learn, but I think that he's going to be really good. He's got fire. He's got charisma. He's got his dad's ability. So thumbs up to Brian Pillman Jr. Favorite Bret Hart match versus Owen at WrestleMania 10. That's an easy one. Metallica, but I love Megadeth too. I think Megadeth is great. I would love to see Metallica and Megadeth tour together. That's almost stadium level at that point. Tully and Arn podcast was awesome. We get full 4 horsemen in our podcast. No, because I'm not allowed to have anybody from WWE on the show. But I did have Flair last year on the cruise, which was great. And Tully and Arn, for the first time ever, did a podcast together this week on Talk is Jericho. So there you go. The best non-American born wrestler of all time, Dynamite Kid for that era. Will Ospreay's got to be up there. I'm sure there's some that I'm not forgetting. Non-American, Chris Jericho. Wait, I was born American. Bret Hart. I don't know. Who's your favorite tag team partner? The Big Show, by far. Love teaming with the Big Show. Although I love teaming with Sammy Guevara too. That's a lot of fun as well. Who's better here, Jericho or Orton? Who's better at their job? Both are great. I love Randy. I think Randy had great matches. We never had our best match though, but I always love working with him. He's amazing. All right, guys, I got to start winding down here, only because my show starts in 35 minutes, and I have to get into my rock and roll clothing, as you can understand. You got to do a sing-along. Won't be the same without. I can't do a sing-along, guys, because I literally have to sing in 35 minutes. I got 15 songs to sing tonight, so I don't want to do a sing-along beforehand. But you guys can pretend. It's better than nothing. At least I'm here to see you guys tonight, right? So there's so many numbers are through the roof this week. I'm glad I got to do the show for you guys. What scarf do you have picked out tonight? I got a great Fozzy scarf. I'll show you guys the actual Jericho scarves. I'll grab them for you. Hold tight. These are the ones that I wear on stage. This one, I think I got this in Europe. Maybe somebody gave me this, or somebody in the States gave me this Fozzy, like a Fozzy material, which is cool. And then somebody gave me this one, which is so obnoxious. And I said to Rich, what do you think? He said, Prince would wear it. As soon as he said it, I'm like, I'm wearing it. So there you go. Yes. You're the best, dude. You're right. I am the best. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you guys so much for joining me this week. Like I said, a little bit of a rush job, but I had to at least do a little bit for you guys. And I'll tell you what, next week, because we missed the sing-along this week, we will do a double sing-along next week. How does that sound? Does that sound like a good deal? So for you guys. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being with me here tonight. You are an amazing dude. Thank you. Sweet Scarf, says Mickey Wayne. Your top fan. Thank you. I love that name. Boggle Avea. By the way, so I watched the Go-Go's documentary this week. I'm not sure exactly what it's called, but it's on Showtime. Definitely worth watching. And then I watched the Leonard Skinner If I Should Leave Here Tomorrow, which was great. So check those out if you guys are looking for some cool documentaries. The Go-Go's are great. I don't know what the Go-Go's are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Some serious... Hey, Chris. You guys go live on your YouTube channel? No, I went live. I thought I did go. No, I'm on YouTube. I'm live on YouTube. I'm live on YouTube, right, guys? You're getting tons of questions from YouTube, so yeah, it's live. Can I set you up to Duke? He is happily married. Kirk Beasley says, "Goat, thank you." Let's see. Are you asking me about the band Kiss, or are you giving me a kiss? I'm not sure what it is. I don't mind. I've never minded anything in my life. Can you kids a shout out? Oh, I'm sorry. Well, thank you guys for listening and watching. To you guys, to Leanne and the kids, thank you so much. Hope you had a little bit of fun tonight. I know I did. So I'm glad we get to do this. Yes, you're live on YouTube. Thank you. So, stupid idiot. Must have not have watched the right thing. Thanks for spending time with us tonight. My wife and I wish you a great show tonight from Boston. Heath, how you doing, buddy? Go to bed. All right. What does this say? Rumble, the Indians who rock the world. It's a great doc. I wonder what that's about. I'll check it out. Can you please give my girlfriend Nicole a shout out? Thank you guys for 18 weeks. Appreciate that. Live stream so I can see Fozzie for the 76th time. It doesn't really count though, does it, at least? How did Walter do tonight? Dukeski again? I would love to play Sheffield again. Sheffield, Adrian Smith came and saw me wrestle in Sheffield once. What's up, Chris? Can you smell the old salami, Jakar Noir, and batteries from them jacket? You know what I'm talking about? Like batteries have a weird smell, like when they go rotten. Like if you pull batteries out of the back of something that's got like decay on it, it kind of has that weird smell. That's what. Chris, you're amazing. You're the reason I watch wrestling. I love that you went to AW. You deserve anything out of this. Thank you very much, buddy. Happy birthday to Mr. Aiden K. He'll be 11. You just made the list. Well, you can't. No, it's my list, so you can't do that. Look forward to this. So I was in the hospital half the day. Well, I hope you're feeling better. I'm glad that we could help you feel better. I can't wait for the meet and great Frankensteins. I love Frankensteins. I would love to. I love LA too. I've been to LA in like 6 months. I used to come to LA every month, so I'm excited to come back to LA very, very soon. All right, guys. I mean, now we're just give me a birthday shout out. Give me a birthday shout out. I can't give everyone a birthday shout out. I like the ones like this. Greetings from Manila, Philippines. Yes, Eric does not. He didn't sign a contract with AW. It was just a cool one-off, but there's definitely some ideas to do a few more with him if the time is right and the role is right. Greetings from Birmingham. What's your favorite old school British heavy metal band? Well, obviously Saxon, Iron Maiden. I really like Raven. Raven was the one for me that I was super into back in the day. And to think about this, when I first toured together, Raven was on after Metallica. They were much bigger. Greetings from Bradford, UK. That's where I got locked in the venue in Bradford, where cops had to come and let me out because the owner closed the gates and locked me inside. Where I was calling my tour manager, was outside. He's like, the doors are locked. So the sheriff said to come and let me out of the venue in Bradford, UK. So, guys, thank you so much once again for being here, and we will see you next week. And we'll do a double sing-along and have a lot more fun. So be safe, stay healthy, and thank you so much for joining me here. Always a pleasure, never a chore. And I'm going to talk for another 6 seconds so we get an even 60 minutes. There you go. Sign a special 18. Over and out. I got a gig to do. See you guys later. Oh, yeah.